And welcome back, everyone, to the Digimon Partner Series. Last one before we switch over to the other schedule. And this one comes to us from Michelle Barnes. I believe that's what it was, or Michael Barnes. Sorry, it was written down a little. I wrote it down a little haphazardly. Someone gave me the suggestion for Fracture from Ninjago, who I've done a couple times on this series. I will do my best, but as I've said, I'm not very much into Ninjago. But I'll try to be as respectful to the series as possible. The question with a character like this is, how exactly do I represent his Digimon partner? Because you're not just translating abilities or anything like that into a Digimon. You can do that, but it's not like with a Pokemon team where you can just take aspects of them and turn it into a Pokemon team, or take a quirk and turn it into a quirk. This is similar to a Zanpakuto, where the core of who they are is kind of what you're more looking at, though not as in-depth as a Zanpakuto. I can still draw from aspects of this guy. And when it's all breaking down, the main thing that stands out to me in terms of what is described about Frackjaw is he's kind of an idiot. He's kind of a dope. So, why don't I play up that aspect? A Digimon that would be partnered with him. Started with Toy Agumon. Now, I did try, or want to at least go with the whole skeleton motif a little bit, but they're amazingly, even only a little more so than Pokemon, there aren't a lot of skeleton-based Digimon out there. You got your Skull Greymon, Skull Marimon, Skull Mammothmon, but unless Skull is in the name, and there's only a couple of them, there are not a lot of skeleton-based Digimon. So I knew that wasn't going to be the focus. But Toy Agumon can Digivolve into what I think the main focus was. Plus, Toy Agumon is kind of, he's Kid's Block, so it would make sense that someone's a little dopey and immature would have him. But his actual Digimon partner, welcome everyone, I think it's the first time he's been on here, maybe not, Sukamon! Hey there, Sukamon. It's all about Chumon. This would just be Sukamon, not Chumon. Chumon is, in fact, a separate Digimon. These guys are just idiots. They are big dopes. They are just kind of goofy. But they are champion level. So they're not necessarily to be taken lightly. That being said, this was kind of... These guys would be Sakumon and Fracture, respectively, would be kind of like best buddies. Sukamon, I should say. Sukamon and Fracture would be like best. They just dance around, kind of like chumming around. But when they'd have to like pull out some shit, like Fracture can fight. Despite his dopiness, he can fight. And how much? So beyond that, though, where do I go from there? I stuck with the idea of something silly. Now, as this Digivolution line grows, it does get a bit more competent as it goes on. So I went with Entomon. Entomon is, in fact, if you go play, what was it, Cyber Sleuth? This is a Digivolution of Sukamon. Well, look at that beautiful banana bulge, everyone! Japan! Woohoo! Seriously, what was the mindset about giving him a very clear bulge? And I'm like, what? How does the anatomy work on that thing? Like, does something come out of somewhere? Or is it just the digital code for bulge? What? Can you program bulges into your Digimon? I don't know. Digimon can have tits, so what do we know? We don't... I'm sure there's videos about it. I don't know the reproductive habits of Digimon. I'm never quite familiar with that. Sometimes I have to get a refresher. It's not the same with Pokemon. Because they're dead, they can just disappear. But they do have anatomy because they do use the toilet. At least number 2. We know that. I don't know if they need to take leaks at any point, but they do number 2. So we know they have some level of anatomy down there. That's a completely different tangent, though. Etemon, I think, works because it is a more serious mon compared to Sukamon. But if you remember Etemon from the original, hey, baby, oh, you guys are messing with my jive. Come on, oh, my grandma's needles are sharper than that. Oh, baby. Like, he's Elvis, but he's Johnny Bravo, too, let's be honest. Oh, I'm so pretty. Like, that's what Etemon was like. But when he had to be menacing, he could do it. Etemon was actually a fun villain. I liked Etemon. But I think that works in terms of the next stage for this Digivolution, where, okay, it's now starting to get a bit more serious, but still goofy. Which leads us to the last stage, a Pile Volcanomon. Now, Volcanomon is a ultimate level Digimon, and not something I would have chosen necessarily for this. And I was like debating, like, okay, what's the Digivolution lines I can go with Edamon? Obviously, there's Metal Edamon, there's King Edamon. There is also like the ultimate like Golden Numamon, which I believe is a Mega. But I'm looking at them, and then I did find Pile Volcanomon. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, let me check that out. And I like this one because it's arguably the most non-human humanoid of this group. By that I mean, obviously Sukumon's probably the least humanoid. It's not even bipedal. The other two are bipedal. But what I mean by that is, Fracture has a skeleton. He's a walking, talking skeleton. And while there's no walking, talking skeletons, the idea of this kind of armored, volcanic being covered in metal and firing out fire, I think is not a bad concept. Add on the fact that because he's from kind of like the underworld, I never watched Ninjago or read anything with Ninjago, but because he's from a kind of underworld, it's logical to think there would be some level of like fire, brimstone, whatever. Not necessarily hell per se, but something like that. So that could translate into that aspect of him as well. Now, you could still go the goofy route, though. You could slide evolution into like Metal Edamon or something like that. But I kind of like this layout over that. It's a little bit more wacky, a little bit more haphazard to put together. So, I don't know. What do you think? Again, I go Toy-Agumon for the rookie, Sukamon for the champion, which is where I started this from, Edamon for the ultimate, and then Pile Volcanomon for the mega. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.